Yep. Hey, GenX unites on TikTok. Up next on Geek Out SA.
Do not attempt to adjust your YouTube video. We control the stream.
Oops.
And welcome back to Geek Out SA. It's Saturday and we're here.
Messing up.
We're back again.
So sorry, I did the wrong button, so y'all saw a little bit of behind the scenes there, because it was Vincent's. Vincent doesn't know this, but it was Vincent's and mine. There's there's like a just Vince that's just supposed to be him doing the intro, and I'm like doing the countdown. I messed that up. So
I just had to pull down my shirt because my undershirt is showing. It's things that happen.
It's all of those things
during the coast. Because I'm like trying to stick the
mic up. Hey, you know what? We've seen the same kind of problems happen on like the local news and everything, and even
I don't feel bad.
Even other live programs. So it's like whatever. It is what it is at this point. So what are we talking about tonight?
So we're talking about GenX and they're assembling on TikTok.
So we're talking about ourselves.
We're talking about ourselves. So this happened this week. There was a post, some girl, I think it was like a Gen Z was saying that Gen Z was the worst generation ever. And then everybody started like duetting that.
Coming out of the woodwork, basically.
Yeah. And she actually took her video down, so I don't even have it to show. But there's a bunch of TikToks that have it duetted, but I didn't download those because we can't get permission from her.
Right.
Yeah.
So I actually haven't seen this phenomenon because I'm not on TikTok nearly as much as you are.
Yeah.
And I watch all kinds of goofy stuff. I like voiceovers of people doing voiceovers of animals and dancing. And stuff like that.
It's starting to come out on your TikTok.
Well, so
now.
you told me to, so we tried it as an experiment because you did one. Sorry. You did one that was
I did a
GenX,
TikTok
and then,
for GenX, and then you did a TikTok for GenX.
So we wanted to see if this trend was really trending or not. So we both did like a GenX kind of video.
Yeah, it did.
To see how the views and stuff would go.
Yeah.
So, it does okay. Mine did okay. Yours did much better than mine did.
Yeah. I probably follow more people though.
Yeah. I don't even know how many I've on. I only follow like 43 or something. Yeah. I don't know. I don't do TikTok much. Like I would love to do TikTok, but I have like really bad signal at work and stuff like that, so it's not a thing. And I just watch goofy stuff. I like people that keep weird animals as pets and feed them whipped cream and stuff. I don't know. There's all different corners of TikTok is for whoever. So Gen X is rising, huh? Our generation is rising.
So Gen X is 1968 to 1980. That's the years that it encompasses. Or is it 1965?
I have no idea what any of this stuff is.
It keeps changing.
I work with Gen babies. Well, the high school kids I think are different.
Gen Alpha?
Yeah.
There's Gen Z and Gen Alpha. They're either one of those.
They're one of those. I think some of my older high schoolers are Gen Z and some of the younger ones are Gen Alpha or something like that.
So then there's all these Gen Zs that are, y'all are being cringy. And then there's another subset on there that's taking it, this is Red Dawn, MAGA all the way. And it's like, it's just for us to destroy kids' thing like we do with Facebook. Like we destroyed Facebook for kids. So this is our time to destroy TikTok
it's just the adult cruelty. It's like it's like when the teachers go around and use some of the modern lingo. So they say like bruh, and that's dog water, and like all the little lingo that the kids are using nowadays, like that's cap, skibbity toilet riz, and stuff like that. Like
it doesn't even seem like English anymore.
Right, it's like words that you wouldn't say. And then it used to be that it was lit, and then it was fire, but I don't know, now they've like flopped or something. I don't know, I can't keep track of. It's like every time we start to use their lingo against them, they just flip it. Which I think
we used lit back in the day.
Yeah, but when we used lit, it meant like you were high. You were lit.
Yeah.
Like nowadays, lit means like you're cool or whatever. So, I don't know. I mean, but I think this is the same for every generation, right? It's not just a Gen X thing. Sorry. Like now that we're in our 50s and stuff, we're the curmudgeons, like, right?
Yeah.
Like it used to be the curmudgeons, and it was like, oh dear God, not Elvis. You know, Elvis is like shaking his pelvis or whatever, and get him off the stage, and so that was those curmudgeons, you know. And then it was like all the raunchy music that we kind of listened to Live Crew and stuff like that when we were coming up.
So the weird thing is that the Gen Zs never went after the boomers. The baby boomers.
The Gen X didn't.
Or Gen X didn't go after the baby boomers.
Because the Gen
Zs are going after us
but calling us boomers, which we're not.
But calling us boomers. I was like, but we're not boomers.
I mean, they don't know.
Like, oh, that's funny. No, it's not. It's not funny. Get your facts straight. They were talking about, oh yeah, y'all were there's some videos like y'all were generation that was they use asbestos as snow in the Wizard of Oz. I was like, that's not our generation. That's the boomers.
Yeah, that's the boomers. Like the boomers showed us that stuff, but we like I definitely remember watching the Wizard of Oz on TV, thinking that was pretty spectacular. But no, I think our generation is really odd, and I think that is kind of coming out more and more. Although I didn't have the same experience that a lot of Gen X kids had, as far as being the latchkey kid, being thrown outside and not being allowed to come again. Now,
a lot of us Gen Xers call it that we were feral.
See, and I was not allowed.
Yeah, my dad's on here. He says I'm a boomer.
Yeah, you are a boomer. I was not allowed to be feral. I was always jealous of the kids that got to be feral because I wanted to be feral. In my soul, I was feral. But I had one of the original helicopter moms.
Yeah.
So she would go outside and she would watch us. Now, did we have to go outside and play? Yes, we did. We had to go outside and play. There was none of
But
this.
it was a helicopter mom before a helicopter mom was a thing.
That's what I mean.
Because we brought out the helicopter.
My mom was
parents.
The original helicopter mom.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know if it's because, like, she waited such a long time. Like, she tried for a long time to have me, and then she thought maybe I was going to break or something. Maybe it was because I was so defiant. Because I will say, I have been, she's a hoarder, so I've been helping her clean her house 2 or 3 times a year for the last 10, 12, 15 years. Anyway, so recently I found all these books that I just laughed and laughed, and they're from the 70s. And it's like the willful child, the strong-willed child, how to deal with your disobedient child.
Dr. Dobson.
Yeah, Dr. Dobson. And it's funny because we found some of the same books in your mom's house that she had too. We were the willful children. So it's funny that switched because we were the willful children and they wanted us to kind of stop.
But we're the ones that went out and like did stuff. We were the first generation to know the firsthand what the internet was. There wasn't internet when we started.
Oh, right. No.
There wasn't internet. There wasn't Google. And anything that was like a website was just text-based back in the day.
And playing games, like, forget about it, right?
Yeah.
It was...
Because we had dial-up back then.
Yeah, I remember trying to play this game, Pirates, on my friend's Tandy. And just to move your pirate ship, like if you wanted to move your pirate ship to try to like shoot the other pirate ship, because it was kind of a strategy game, because we were on dial-up, we would like press the buttons for it to move, and then we would go do something else for like 30 minutes and then get to come back. So,
oh, it's Lennon. I'm a 90s baby and I enjoy TikTok. I'm at 1,500 plus followers today. This generation says sus, cringe, slaps, and as slang.
Yeah, they say all of those things. Yeah. But back to what I was talking about. So I had a helicopter mom. So a lot of Gen X talks about like the parents kicked them out. You had to go play all day. My helicopter mom was like, you can go play. I'm going to sit on the lawn and watch you. And you can go like 5 houses down that way and 5 houses down this way. Whereas from you, I've heard like you got to ride your bike with your friends to the missions and all kinds of stuff like that. That was never, and all these other Gen Xers talk about it.
And that wasn't like super close.
No.
To where I was.
No.
So, yeah, we used to ride our bikes everywhere. And then, like, when you were supposed to come home was before the street lights came on.
Yeah, now, even though my parents did watch me a lot, I was still expected to be outside and play. And so there were times when my mom had to go in, because my mom was a homemaker. So she would go in and, like, finish up her chores, and she would be doing dinner or whatever. So she would tell us that we could stay out as long as we kind of stayed in.
Right.
But if my dad was flicking the lights, you better get over there and you better get in the house, or else you were getting busted. And then the only outside you were going was in the backyard.
Yeah, with us, they didn't really know where we were. We told them like after.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I rode out all the way to the missions. What? It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So I never had that latchkey.
So if you
experience.
queue up number 2, you can go ahead and see that one.
At 50 years old, it's nice to say that I do know where my kids are at 10 p.m. In their own houses, in their own beds. Not bothering me. Because it's actually 8:30, and I'm in my jammies.
Yeah, and that was the thing. That came on TV.
Yeah, no, that did come on
Do
TV.
you know where it's 10 o'clock? It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
I actually remember my parents fussing about that, because they're like, why, it's 10 o'clock, whose kids are out at 10 o'clock at night, you know, because my parents were my parents.
And that's not necessary. Like when we're young, that wasn't a thing. I didn't stay out till like 10 o'clock at night. I usually came home when it was still light outside.
See, and a lot of my friends, well, it depended. When we got older, like late junior high, early high school, there was none of that. When you were like elementary, early junior high, it was still the light was flicking on and you had to come inside. Like everybody on the street, right? It was like that. But then as people got into high school and stuff.
So everybody on TikTok is just reminiscing about this stuff and like bringing some of this stuff up. And the generation is kind of known for not really caring about anything. Like we hang out with people.
Oh, not like having all the divisiveness?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it seems like it's our generation that does have the divisiveness. We used to not be like this. I was brought up in a household where you didn't talk about your political views at all.
Right.
You went and voted the way you voted, and I went and voted the way I voted, and we didn't talk about it. It was a secret ballot for a reason. It was a secret. That's why nobody was supposed to know about it, and we didn't talk about it.
Right.
And we didn't have like rally. I mean, I know that there were rallies for presidents and stuff, but I don't remember it being to the extent that it is nowadays.
We just missed that with like Jimmy Carter.
Yeah.
Jimmy Carter was really big, but we just missed that. I mean, we were too young.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think as a kid you don't even really have any of the political stuff isn't even on your radar.
No.
I mean, what do you care?
No.
Like, even as a high school teacher, like, I talk to these high school kids, and they're like, oh, well, I'm 18, I can vote. And they're like, I guess I'm going to vote for
You can't
Kanye
even talk
or
about
whatever.
politics in the workplace anymore.
Well, you don't want, why would you want to?
But they used
It's
to,
just
like,
gonna cause-
but people used to wear their buttons. The boomers did.
Yeah. Yeah, but nowadays it's just going to cause some viral video of people, fighting each other over MAGA versus Biden versus independence versus whatever.
Yeah.
And so it's turned into this melee that even when you look at like the Senate and the Congress, they're fighting each other, physically fighting, screaming, yelling at each other like
And
a
that
bunch
just
of
happened
children.
like a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
Or even yesterday.
Yeah. So where's the example? The government should be the example. There's no example anymore.
That's and it's coming from both sides, and
It's both sides.
and that's what I'm really frustrated with. I'm frustrated that we can't trust the government to pass laws.
Well, we can't trust them to have our back. Your dad says, no secrets at my house. If you tried to vote Republican, you were out of the house. I guess because my grandpa was a Vietnam vet, and he was military. And so he fought for our freedom to have choice and to have a democratic nation. And so he was very firm on your choice is your choice, and your choice is your choice, and your choice is your choice. And that is the freedom that you get in this country that I
Right.
risked my life for.
Right.
We're not fighting over whose choices are whose. You get your choice because you live in this country.
Right.
And so that was because he was military. In a time where the military...
You could be wrong, but...
You could, but... Yeah, you could be wrong, but there was a time when the military also had a different view of things. Also had a different way of doing things. Also had a way of kind of feeling about what they were doing for our country. Whether they were right or wrong, because he was there during Vietnam when they were getting spit on and stuff when they came back, and all they were trying to do, they thought.
And I kind of understand. This is gonna sound weird, but
No, it's okay.
I understand MAGA, and I understand the Red Dawn, whatever they're trying to do on TikTok. I understand why they're doing it. I just don't see why they're idolizing Trump to do that.
Yeah, and I don't understand why it's become so much ugliness, right? I think that there's a way to believe in what somebody says and believe in doing better for the common man, but not to the extent of like pushing away everybody and saying, oh, you're in this group, I hate you. You're in this group, I hate you. That you're in this group, I hate you. And how
But
is
here's
that?
the thing, like we were this must have been like maybe 5 years ago, we were at IKEA or something. And then there was this guy with a MAGA hat on. And nice guy, he came and helped me pull out this box and helped me with it. And I said, thank you, sir. And I was very appreciative, and he was very nice. So, I mean, there are nice people.
It's not that they're not nice people.
But I understand because they see that the government is so broken. But I don't think they're thinking they're seeing it from both sides, because it's broken on both sides. Democrats, it's broken because they're far too left. And then the Republicans are broken because they're far too right. And there's only a little bit in the middle.
Well, and here's the problem that I have. They want to say that the Republicans and MAGA and everybody is conservative. That's not true. True conservatives want the government to have very little control over what we do. Whereas Donald Trump wants to have ultimate control. He wants to be utilitarian. He wants to be the king, basically.
Yeah.
And I don't think that people are hearing that message, right? They think that they're conservative because they think that being Christian makes them conservative. They think that having these certain moral rights, but that's not what true conservatives are.
I think what they think is that he was going to drain the swamp, and he never did that. He said when he was going to drain the swamp. No, you didn't. Because they're all still there.
Why would he want to? They're all being fed money and votes and everything else by the same group of people.
Well, because it's all run by corporations.
Right.
Even though they're like, corporations aren't supposed to donate to elections, they create political action committees.
Yeah.
Which are not those corporations.
Right.
It's separate.
Right. I mean, and it's very obvious in a lot of places. Like if you look here in Texas, it's very obvious as a school teacher, the push is for vouchers. Mm-hmm. But vouchers don't do what they're claiming that they do. All they're doing is helping rich people get a break on tuition for their private schools. Because they're not enough to pay for private schools for poor people to send their kids to. It's not enough of a voucher.
No, not at all.
So, but now Greg Abbott is throwing a fit because his vouchers didn't go through again. So now he's giving zero budget to the public schools to like prove to us that his vouchers are the right thing to do, because why would you want to send your kid to a public school that doesn't have enough funding to do what needs to be done to educate them?
Yeah.
And why do you want your kid to be educated when if everybody's stupid, they don't know how to vote?
Yeah.
Just saying.
That's a big thing. And that's what I've said from the beginning, because I saw this coming years and years before it ever happened. Mm-hmm. I was seeing how education was going. I was seeing how, not just talking about politics, but I was just like seeing how the children of the day, and some of it was our fault for raising millennials the way we raised them, because we were at a point where we felt like we didn't have enough of our parents, that we hovered over our kids, and we wanted to make their lives better than we had.
Mm-hmm. Which I think all parents do, but I think a lot of Gen X went too far, created the millennials.
Yeah.
Then the millennials took it a step further and created these new generations. And then COVID came in, and so now you have all these
totally
young parents.
Messed everything up.
Well, yeah.
Even worse.
You have these parents with all these kids at home who are trying to work from home, who don't know how to be teachers, who don't know how to discipline, not really, because they've been letting their kids be free range or whatever, and having whatever they want. Now they don't know how to deal with all of these raging children at home, so they give them technology, they give them whatever they want so that they'll shut up so they can go do their jobs. And then when COVID ends, they send them back into the public school system and say, well, good luck, teachers, because here's my feral dog. They thought Gen X was feral? No. We kept our mouths shut. We did what we were told. Did we cuss out a teacher behind the teacher's back to each other? Yes, we did.
But behind the teacher's back.
Yes. Did we talk smack about adults? Behind their back. Yes, we did. When we were hanging out ourselves. Did we talk about inappropriate things? Yes, we did. In the space with our friends.
Yeah.
Like, we were feral. We were like a mix between the two, right? We were feral, but we had some of those morals that the boomers had given us, right? So we towed the line, but we were also getting in trouble, right? We were also skipping school and getting drunk and smoking cigarettes and doing all the things that you weren't supposed to. But then still,
I didn't do that in school.
I did. I was super feral. I was like getting drunk and throwing Chinese
let me correct
stars.
that. I didn't do that until like senior year of high school.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't like in junior high doing that stuff or anything, but I was like a sophomore, junior, and senior in high school. Yeah. I started when I was about 15, being pretty feral. Yeah. But here's the other thing. Okay, we were feral, but you also knew. I feel like our generation knew. If I did X, the consequence was going to be Z, right? Mm-hmm. So if I got caught doing X, even if I hadn't got caught 6 times before, I got caught finally on the 7th time, I just took Z, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Because I knew that that was the consequence that was coming. I didn't do all this. Like, I never would have hauled off and punched a teacher or a parent or...
Well, we get the paddle.
Well, yeah, but even then,
Back in the day, but you can't. They don't give you the paddle anymore.
But nowadays, if you tried to take a kid and give them a paddle, they would fight you back. I'll tell you, just this past week, my job is to be a teacher and do what my boss tells me to do. The other teachers are the same. This is our job, right? It's a half day at school. So the kids have to get off campus because it's the end of the school year. They're fighting a lot, right? Mm-hmm. They're going to miss each other, so they're trying to have relations with each other. They're trying to sneak back in the school and get into like bathrooms and stuff like that so that they can do these things. So we're told all teachers come down. The kids have to be out of the school, either in the front for parent pickup or walking or in the back for buses, right? So kids are trying to sneak in. Kids are trying to sneak them from the front to sneak in to let other kids in. So this one kid, we've told him a couple of times, you can't be in here or whatever. So one of the teachers kind of stands in front of him. She's trying to talk to him. She's like, look, we've told you before, like you can't. And he's trying to go around her and she's like, just stop. I'm trying to talk to you. And he pushes her. Mm-hmm. You know, we never would have done that.
No.
Never. We would never even have considered it. A teacher told you to stop and listen. You stopped and listened. Now, did you maybe try to find 3 other ways to get to the back, to get to your friends, to help them out? Sure you did.
Yeah.
Sure you did. But each time you got
I'm sure
caught,
there was exceptions to the rule.
But it's
back
more.
In our day.
But it seems like it's more rampant nowadays.
Yeah.
And maybe it seems more rampant because there's more ways for them to get caught. Mm-hmm. There's more TikTok videos. There's more YouTube
But some of the
videos.
cool things about the TikTok videos is that they're playing a lot of old music that we used to listen to back in the day.
Well, even the movies and everything are now. Like, everything's pandering to us at this point.
Which is really cool. But, like, if you bring up, like, one, this is mine.
Okay, let's
that
see.
I did.
You're number 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't summon a whole generation just by playing a song.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yeah, so that was another thing that I've been enjoying about this. But you're seeing a lot of people with the same views as you, and then there's other people trying to take it to the extreme, and they're like, where are we gonna meet? What are we gonna do? When are we gonna storm the Capitol and stuff like that? I was like, we're not gonna do that.
No, we're not gonna do that.
I was like, that doesn't make a point. It didn't work on January 6th. It's not gonna work now.
I don't know how to make change. I mean, I'm just going to be really honest about it.
You have to vote.
I do vote.
You have to vote. But here's the thing. Forever, we've had the Republicans and the Democrats. But we have other parties that come in. They're not the best parties. You don't necessarily agree with everything. But maybe there needs to be another party. Maybe the Gen Xers need to get together and create a brand new party that brings in all the middle class. Because if Gen X can't do anything by themselves because there's not enough of us. There's more boomers. I think they have us by like maybe 10 or 20 million.
Oh, wow. Well, because the baby boomers.
Yeah. And then even the millennials have more than us.
Oh, yeah.
They do?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So it's like anything that we do, we have to include the millennials. We have to include Gen Z.
Because it was like the boomers had so many siblings that when they started having kids, they're like, oh, we're just going to have like 2, maybe 2 or 3. That's it. So then I can see our generation being smaller, but then our generation was like, oh my God, I was so lonely. Let me have a bunch of kids. So now there's a bunch of millennials.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think the millennials would be susceptible to helping us out. I think they're reaching that age where they're in their 30s.
But it seems like that on TikTok too.
Yeah.
It's like the millennials have been supporting the Gen X because they was like, when they're talking to the Gen Zs, they're like, you don't want to talk to Gen X like that. You don't want to bring them out.
Well, and I think the thing is
don't wake up the hibernating bears.
Yeah, when you're in your 20s, I think just categorically, you kind of just don't care, right? Mm-hmm. You're 20, like the government's doing whatever the government's doing, it's not bothering me, right? And then you get to 30 and you're like, oh dear God, what have I done with my life? Like maybe I should pay attention to the political climate, and so you kind of pay attention to it and you want to get involved and stuff. And then you get to 40 and you're like, well, I tried at 30, but nothing really happened. So I'm going to go back to my 20s and be apathetic, and then you come back around to your 50s and you're like, dear God, I'm 50. I need to do something before I'm dead. So maybe if we could get the 50-year-olds and the 30-year-olds to come together, we could really do something.
That would be enough to overturn whatever everyone else is trying to do. But then you also have to think about the class system. And the class system has a lot to do with what's going on right now, and the working class, because the thing that's kind of like upset me is like we should be at a point where we're at least upper middle class with what we get paid.
Yeah. And
we pulled ourselves up to that point, but we're not at that point anymore. That whole, you have to make a lot more just to be upper middle class.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, everything has inflated out of proportion.
Well, but why? Because they keep changing the line of where it is because they don't want us to get there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because what's the point of having people that are successful is more money gets spent.
Yeah. Right. If the 20-year-olds didn't have to try to get housing that was, $1,600 a month mm-hmm. for a small 1-bedroom, they'd probably put more money into the economy because they'd have more money in their pockets.
Because rich people don't really put money into the economy.
No, not really.
They
just get a bunch of free stuff.
They get a bunch of free stuff, or every cent they make goes to making them more money.
Yeah.
So it's always been that way, and they've created generational wealth that we've never experienced.
No, but I don't know what the answer is. I don't know. Maybe this Gen X movement on TikTok will do something. I've become cynical at this point. I don't think
the TikTok movement is going to do anything. If somebody gets together and says, "Hey, let's create a new party," but everybody needs to start voting for these new people, because we got to get all these old people that have been in politics for years and years and years and years. They need to be out.
Yeah.
There's no new ideas there. They barely know what the internet is or how it works.
Yeah, I know.
That's abundantly clear.
But I think a lot of people don't know how the internet works and algorithm works. And therein lies part of the problem. Mm-hmm. Is the algorithms are made to feed you just what you want to hear so that you will be more susceptible to advertisements.
Right.
So if you're not... it used to be you would go to work, go to the bar, whatever, and you would have these conversations with people and you would hear other sides and you would see other sides. But now the internet, the social media platforms is just feeding you everything you already want to hear. There have been experiments by people. You can look them up and see, like on YouTube and stuff, they talk about them, where it took so much time and so much effort to change their algorithm just so they could see news. Because even the news that you see that's supposedly showing you the other person's side is really showing you the other person's side through the lens that you want to see it through.
Yeah.
So
Well, because it's funny. Like I think Fox News isn't actually considered news; it's considered entertainment.
Yeah.
So they don't have to do retractions.
Yeah. Well, they can just post any opinion that they have about anything. Yeah.
But then we have the media going through, and even the media that we do watch goes through and just they're pushing all the stuff that gets them ratings.
Oh, yeah.
So I understand why they're doing that, but it doesn't necessarily bring confidence in them either.
No, but I think the media has been corrupted for a very long time.
Yeah.
Originally, it was meant to just give us the facts,
Mm-hmm.
but that hasn't been the case for a very long time. There are a few. I will say I've learned that if I see something and I want to get confirmation, you can still kind of look at like the New York Post and the Los Angeles Times. But then if you really want to look at the local paper in the area of what you're reading about and see what the local papers have to say.
Yeah.
And then you get kind of a better idea.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. But again, it's tough to know what's right, what's wrong. I mean, do we all know that these lifer politicians shouldn't be there? Yeah. I mean, I don't hate Joe Biden. I think he's too old. I think he's been in politics for too long.
Mm-hmm.
But as of right now, I think he's better than Donald Trump. Because at least I feel like he's not making fun of women, and he's not making fun of special education people, and he's not making fun of...
he's apparently he's still doing it to this day.
Oh, he is. He is. Nobody has stopped him.
Mm-mm.
And in fact, the people that feel that way have come out to support him.
Yeah.
Because there are lots of people who feel that way. But, and that's fine. You can feel that way. It's a free country. Yeah. But we need to get out there and stop that kind of behavior.
I know. I see us at a precipice of change right now. It's either going to go one way or go the other. Yeah. And if it goes the wrong way, it's going to go really bad. Because I'm looking, I see another civil war coming.
Yeah, you were telling me that the other day. And I've heard that you're not the first person that I've heard that. I've heard that from a lot of people, actually. Yeah. That's coming. But I feel like there are going to be civil wars even within like city limits. Like cities are going to be at war against
because the crazy thing is like the right thinks the left doesn't have guns. The left has guns.
Yeah. Yeah. We're not hippies.
No.
It's not the same thing.
Yeah.
We believe in the rights of everyone, and we're going to defend that belief if it comes down to it. And that's unfortunate that it may have to come down to that.
Yeah.
But sometimes that's the only way to create change,
mm-hmm.
is through acts like that. We'll see,
We'll see what happens, and hopefully we're all safe. And hopefully we just make positive change. The only real positive change is going to be education.
You're
preaching
the thing about the wrong choir.
But the thing about that is people think a president can change the nation. The president can't change the nation.
I think
it's the people that change the nation.
I think a president can bring out the worst parts of the nation. I think
that's abundantly clear.
I think a president's words have impact, right?
Mm-hmm.
His words and his actions have impact on all of us. And they have impact on the way that the international scene sees us.
Yeah.
And so that impacts commerce. That impacts people's willingness to have us in their country, to let us put our military bases in their country, to be partnered with us. I think it's much more complicated than everybody wants to think of it.
I just don't see the reason that... I don't know. I hate to get political, but why was Trump ever even considered to be there? Because he's known to not be a good businessman.
Yeah. I know.
And they think he is. They think he's done all these great things. He's had a lot of bankruptcies because his Taj Mahal failed, his Trump University failed, his other whatchamacallit failed, his other casino failed.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, but it's like they want to fantasize him and say, oh, he did all of this great stuff, when the stuff that they talk about isn't actually in his purview to have even been done. Mm-hmm. It's just some of it happened because of the way that things played out in this country. But then they want to take the same stance on Joe and say, well, Biden made all of this a mess. Do you even know what the role is of the president? Do you even know what his powers are? Because the initial government in the United States from the 1700s, so let's always keep that in mind, actually reduced the powers of the president to practically nil, right? So he doesn't have the power that people think he does to make the change that
but not 9/11 changed that.
Oh, marginally.
Mm-hmm. Enough to start separating things.
Well, I think if we want to talk about political change, let's talk about revisiting everything, because it's been 300 years almost.
Yeah.
So explain to me why we have the same government system that we had 300 years ago.
Or I don't know. We're one of the youngest nations.
I know.
We're one of the youngest nations. We should have learned from the others that have been in.
You can't. That's human nature. Just like we didn't learn from our parents and our kids didn't learn from us.
If people like actually go to other countries, even like beyond like Mexico, if they go out to like France and go to Great Britain and go to Rome, or go to Italy, it's very different.
Somewhat they have some of the same problems that we still have too.
Yeah, but they've solved some of those problems.
Some of them.
That we have.
But it seems like they've solved some of them too. And if you dig a little bit deeper, they've got problems just like we do. I think that's human nature.
Everybody's going to have problems just because people are people.
Yeah. Well, so we were just watching Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes today. And I got to tell you, all the buildings torn down, all the plants, all over the buildings, all the animals roaming free. That looked like a nice Earth to me. I can't wait for all of us to be gone personally. I think we're the scourge of the planet, and so.
Well, because we're not homeostasis with the Earth.
Oh, of course not.
We never have.
No, we think that we can own it. Mm-hmm. We think that it belongs to us. Manifest Destiny has gotten way out of hand.
Yeah.
Way out of hand. But we're not the first ones for Manifest Destiny. I mean, let's look at the Romans and some of the others. I think it's a human thought process.
To conquer.
To try to conquer. Don't know why that's our thought process, but yeah.
Power. Just power.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yep.
So, I don't know. I love GenX. I love all that we enjoyed because I'm part of it. Do I put any faith in us making any change aside from getting on TikTok and making some noise? No, not really.
We just had some awful taste in some of the clothing we wore back in the day.
Hey man, our clothes were awesome.
Parachute pants. We thought they were cool at the time, but
I mean, the kids wear their pants under their butt cheeks now. It's not cute. I don't want to see your chonis.
Yeah, I don't want to see that either.
Vincent and I did finally join the Croc Nation though. We got brought over to the dark side.
But I don't wear them outside.
No.
I just wear them at home.
That's a funny TikTok. Is the gay man with the Italian husband, and he'll try to wear stuff like Crocs or like sweatpants or something outside, and his husband's like, no, we're getting a divorce. He won't let him leave the house like that. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like TikTok is supposed to be entertainment. And
it's supposed to be fun. And a lot of GenX TikTokers just want to be on there for fun and to make it profitable for them. But now Biden signed something to where that may not be possible.
It's not the government's purview to decide what we do with our personal phones, time, social interactions. That's where we need to stop them.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be able to overstep. If you want to say that on government devices it can't be there, fine, I agree. That's fine. You don't get to tell me what's on my... You don't get to tell me. You don't get to tell me what I get to buy. You don't get to tell me what country I get to buy from. You don't. It's a free country. You don't get to tell me. Stay in your lane.
But both parties were, oh, yeah, let's do that.
Oh, I know, because they're a bunch of idiots.
It's great.
It's always smoke and mirrors. Smoke and mirrors. Because they don't want to deal with the real stuff. So
because something else is going on that they're trying to detract from.
Mm-hmm.
So one day we'll figure it out.
GenX forever.
It's just the two-party system hasn't been working for a very long time.
Yeah, I know.
And that's what we need to change. We need to change that.
I just want to go back and play with Strawberry Shortcake, some Smurfs, watch some Saturday morning cartoons. I'm done.
We don't even have that.
I'm done adulting. We've made up our own Saturday morning cartoon ritual by going on Netflix because they have lots of cartoons. Watching Justice League.
So I've been really digging this this assembly of TikTokers. So if you haven't checked it out, get on TikTok and check it out. If you're a Gen X, even if you're not, check it out. It's a lot of fun just to see what's going on. But thanks for checking this out. Had a lot of fun. If you haven't clicked on that subscribe button, please click on the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so the next time we go live, you'll know. But I'm Vince.
I'm Colleen.
Geek out to say.